From the perspective of an Airbnb host, what makes the ideal guest? That's what we're talking about today. So whether or not you're looking to be an awesome guest or you're just curious about what things really annoy Airbnb hosts, then this video is for you. If this is your first time finding my channel, welcome, so glad you're here. I make videos simplifying money and home. If that's content that you need in your life, please hit that subscribe button and ring the little bell so you don't miss any notifications. So a little bit of a backstory for you. Last summer, my husband and I purchased a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, and then we converted 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom into a little Airbnb suite that can only be accessed from the outside. So we started running the Airbnb officially right at the end of last August in 2020, which is kind of a crazy time to start an Airbnb, but that's what happened. So we're getting close to being Airbnb hosts for a year, and we've learned so much in the process, and sometimes I share that on my channel, and I also have a whole Airbnb playlist if you want to hear about the numbers or the construction or any of that sort of stuff. Definitely check out that playlist. So one of the things we love when guests do is they let us know when they're leaving. And I know some Airbnbs are cleaned by the hosts themselves, or some people hire people to clean the Airbnb, but either way, it is so nice to know when people have checked out. I know the day that people are leaving, but I don't know the time. So checkout time is officially at 11, so I know for sure that I can start cleaning at 11. If I can get a head start on cleaning the Airbnb, that is so nice for the rest of my day. So if people are taking off at 8 o'clock in the morning, I love to know that, because then maybe I can get some cleaning done before my son even wakes up, and then we can just knock that out, get it out of the way, and then I can just move on with my life. So when guests send a message and officially let us know that they're officially checking out, that is just so nice for us, because then we can move on to the next thing and make sure we have everything ready for the next guest. So some Airbnb hosts might be more clever, but I only have 1 quilt and 1 comforter. So if those get dirty, I have to wash them, and I only have 1 washing machine because this is not a commercial operation. So this means the earlier I know that guests check out, the earlier I can deal with those if there's stains on the comforter and stuff. So if you want to be an awesome Airbnb guest, just let your host know when you're checking out, especially if it's early, so they can get a head start on cleaning. Another thing that guests do that we appreciate is when they let us know about damages. So it's not as though I appreciate damages, but things happen and things break, and that's okay, but I'd really love to know about it. So if I'm going in there after they checked out and I am discovering damages, that is a lot less fun than if the guest told me about them in advance. We also feel so much happier with our guests when they let us know in advance before we see what happened. Because if they let us know, I'm like, no big deal, they weren't trying to do it, we'll just fix it, our stuff is weak, whatever. But if I go in there and they damage something and I didn't hear about it, like they were trying to keep it a secret or something, that gives me a whole nother vibe about how I feel about them. So of course it would be better if nothing ever got damaged, but welcome to life, things get damaged. So it's just better to let your hosts know so they can do whatever they need to do to right the situation so they can prepare for the next guest. So perhaps the shower curtain got broken for some reason. If they already know that the shower curtain is broken, even before they go in to clean, that means they could go buy another shower curtain so that they can get ready for the next guest. Because often the turnaround is kind of close. So if people are checking out at 11, I've got new people coming at 3. That is not very much time if something that really has to be replaced needs to be purchased. So any sort of heads up that I can get about that is super helpful. Okay, the next thing that awesome guests do is they take off the sheets of the beds that they used. So in our Airbnb, we have a pull-out couch and then we have a queen size bed. And most of the time it's just the queen size bed that gets used, but I've been to lots of Airbnbs and they've got lots of different rooms. So it's also communication to your host about what beds were slept in, because if you don't sleep in a bed, then they don't have to wash the sheets, but they gotta wash all the sheets for all the beds that were used, which means it would be super useful to know which beds those were. But for us, we've only got the main one bed, but it is nice when people take off their own sheets. It is part of our instruction, and that it is pretty common for Airbnbs for them to ask you to take off the sheets. So it's just definitely a nice thing when guests do that. And sometimes if you're at a bigger Airbnb, they might ask you to start a load of laundry if there is a washer and dryer in the unit. We do not have a washer and dryer in our unit, but we have been to a place where they wanted us to wash the sheets. So definitely be paying attention to that, whether or not they do or do not want you to wash sheets, because they probably know when the cleaner is going to come and how much time they're going to have. And if the cleaner is not going to come for a day or two, they really might not want you to start any sheets, because then they would be sitting mildewing in the washing machine. So just watch their instructions on that, but it's super useful for hosts to know which beds have been slept in. So this next one is a little bit of no fun, and it's about kids. So watching what you're giving your kids and what your kids are doing in someone else's Airbnb. So I have a son, and I also have a baby that could come out any second now. So I love that our Airbnb can be infant and child friendly, but we have definitely had some negative experiences, especially with people that have had children. So if you know you're going to someone's Airbnb and you know you're bringing your children, you might just do a little bit of scheming about how that's going to work and make sure that the activities that you bring for your children will not be damaging to the Airbnb. So in a way, you can see this is my bad for having a white comforter and white sheets and all that stuff. But at the same time, probably should not bring cherries for your children to eat on my comforter. So I love the look of the clean white towels and the white sheets and the white comforter, but when people decide to give their kids very colorful food, someone has to get all of that out and stain remove it and wash it 500 times to get it out. And that is not my absolute favorite. So other activities that may not work well in an Airbnb might be stickers. So one of our guests with children allowed their children to put stickers on our furniture. I want the Airbnb to be incredibly clean for every single guest, and this means maintaining a high standard for my furniture. This means that I was scraping stickers off the toilet seat and the desk, and that made me a little bit less happy. I so want people to bring their children and have adventures with their children and come to my Airbnb with their children, but maybe a little bit of planning about what you're bringing for your children to eat or do could really enhance the experience for your host. So some Airbnbs are definitely more corporate, or there's people that own a lot of different Airbnbs, and those are kind of managed in a different way. But we also have these small scale operations like ours that are mostly managed and cleaned just with the people that are on site or close or in town or whatever it is. And this means we are paying for all of the expenses and all the things that are happening in our Airbnb. So that being said, my next strategy about how to be an awesome Airbnb guest is to not use your one night stay to unpack all of your trip trash. So this is kind of like the signs at the rest stops and stuff where they're like, this isn't the place for your daily trash and all the trash that you've been accumulating in your car for the last year. This is just, you know, for the cup that you were using and that one plastic bag or whatever it is. I know that traveling always produces more trash, but the Airbnb makes so much trash, it kind of blows my mind. So we got a small trash can because I really try to cut back on the amount of trash we're putting in our trash can. I made a whole video about how to save money on your trash bill if you want to watch that one for some ideas about that. But we have a small trash can, but after we saw how much trash was being created with the Airbnb, we had to get a larger trash can to figure out how to dispose of all of that trash. So when you have a guest that's only staying for one night and then you go in there and there's an entire 13-gallon bag of trash, you're like, where did that come from? So just being conscious of the fact that trash disposal is not free for your host and they're running a very tight operation. Just be considerate about your trash. I think it might be interesting for me to do a different video at a different time about how to be more low waste when you're traveling or when you're at Airbnbs. But just a quick few things about this. In our Airbnb, we have some real mugs and some real glass cups. So if people use those instead of using the paper ones or going to get paper ones, then that really reduces our trash. So seeing what's reusable that I can just throw in my dishwasher and using that in the Airbnb as opposed to the paper and plastic products. We did install a drinking water purifier in our bathroom for that very purpose, so that people could be reusing their water bottle or reusing our actual cups so that they could create less trash. I hope this video was interesting and useful for you. If so, go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to hear more about our Airbnb and some of the great things about it and some of the not so great things about it, check out my Airbnb pros and cons video. I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.